She's always in Jamaica. Hey.
Let's go.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, good evening. This is a Saturday, not a Saturday night. It is a Thursday night, Thursday the 10th of the 8th, 2023. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to another evening of, I was going to say talk and sip, but it's not talk and sip tonight. It is in review. What is your news? And I take this opportunity at the same time to just invite you to be a partaker in the discussion. Those on Instagram, those on Facebook, those on YouTube as well. Please join in with the discussion, but not just for the sake of, what should I say, a discussion, because one loves to say a discussion, a show, but at the end of the day, it must actually resonate and actually must somehow has some level of relevance. Must have some level of relevance, I must say. And I want to ask you to share, and ask you on TikTok also to share, those on YouTube also to share, and those all over to share, and to be a part of a discussion. My topic tonight is Africa finally awake. Is Africa finally awake? Now, why do I say that? Why do I say that? Was Africa asleep? Was it in slumber? Or were Africans asleep and were they in slumber? That's a big question, isn't it? That's a big question. But the answer is for you to answer, not for me to answer. But of recent days, we have been seeing some awakenings, some, discussions, some actually coming together. We're seeing people and nations taking a stand and coming against the West. But it is not about coming against the West. It's somehow about a density, a section of the world which one would say is the most economical, viable, and rich. But somehow there seem to be a level of exploitation which is still happening and which is still taking place. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that? And when I saw, even just briefly, and I linked this in, and I might put a picture of it later, even in Alabama, when the hat went into the air, and as they say, many came along, even with the chair. That's not like a rap. The hat went into the air, and even when they come with the chair, yes, they hit from left to left till somebody even get the air. I don't know if that's a rap or so like that. But what it signifies, ladies and gentlemen, it signifies that, is it the time for effective unity? Is it the time for working together? Or was it just a smoke screen? Or it is just a blip? Because one would say we have been here before. One would say we have talked about this so many times before. And this is maybe nothing new at the same time. But it is worth thinking about. because as I put it on my status many times and of recent days, the richest nation in the world, or the richest continent in the world, the majority of persons or people living there are in dire poverty. And I ask the question, why? Now, is this in review? Is this talking about what's happening in the UK? I believe it has a lot to do with the UK. I believe it has a lot to do with even Jamaica becoming a republic. I believe it has a lot to do with political um, discussions in regards to the barge, Windrush. I believe it's so fundamental and so important. But who would find this as something of an important sector? Who would find this as something important? I say who would find as important? They who are affected. And who are affected? I would say those who are of the transatlantic slavery movement, the past. They are the ones affected. I am the one who affected. Or should we say, we're in this new world now. It doesn't matter to us. I'm a Jamaican, I'm a Canadian, I'm from this country. Doesn't matter to me anymore. Is that the question? You know? And so yeah, so that's what I say. But let me just share this in the meantime, and I'll encourage you to also share the live, and I'll also encourage you to come on the live if anything, and to discuss. I'm waiting for Gary as well to come on, and for anyone as well. But before I go any further, let's talk about Saturday. Um, I'm gonna play this video to talk about Saturday. Saturday, big things are going on in Birmingham, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just turn this down and talk about Saturday, where we talk about Jamaica becoming a republic. Here we go. Public. UK Jamaicans have their say this Saturday at Birmingham City University with your host, Councillor Dinah Mackenzie, the Reverend Desmond Jadu, and also joining us from Birmingham, Zuri Dejan, discussing the whole implications, and with constitutional expert Mr. Matunda Makula, hailing from Jamaica, Donna Scott Motley, Senator, and Professor Rosalie Hamilton from Advocacy Network, and with Mr. Sylbourne Sydial. Join us, and remember, register on Eventbrite this Saturday, August 12, 2023, Birmingham City University. Have your say, Birmingham. Jamaica becoming a republic. Thank you. No, I didn't like how that sounded very well. I didn't like how that sounded. So I'm gonna do it again. Let me play it again. Full screen layout. Here we go. Where is it again? So let's start all over again. And this video here. Here we go. Republic. UK Jamaicans have their say this Saturday at Birmingham City University with your host, Councillor Dinah Mackenzie, the Reverend Desmond Jadu, and also joining us from Birmingham, Zuri Dejan, discussing the whole implications, and with constitutional expert Mr. Matunda Makula, hailing from Jamaica, Donna Scott Motley, Senator, and Professor Rosalie Hamilton from Advocacy Network, and with Mr. Sylbourne Sydial. Join us, and remember, register on Eventbrite this Saturday, August 12, 2023, Birmingham City University. Have your say, Birmingham. Jamaica becoming a republic. Thank you. Now, this is very important. Jamaica becoming a republic, ladies and gentlemen. Very important. And in the scheme of things, this is going to be this Saturday, and it's going to be in Birmingham at Birmingham City University. Very important thing. Jamaica is reaching to the point whereby there need to be a level of ownership and taking responsibility for yourself, whereby your final court should be a Jamaican court or a Caribbean court. Your swearing allegiance to the king should be, or should it not be, at this time, in this junction. You should be swearing allegiance to the country as well. And this whole as a matter of fact, hold on, let me see if I can get her on. Okay. come on. As a matter of fact, so we can come on now. Um, Use this link. As a matter of fact, this is good because I'm going to get the organizer to come on to the discussion. Um, uh, yep. Let me see if she can come on. That's Miss Diana McKenzie. Yep. Oh, no, she's not on. No, you're not on. She says she's on, but no, she's not on. You're not on. You got to come on to this link. Um, you got to come on to this particular link to be on. Let me send that link. Oh, there you are. Okay, okay. Now you're on. You said you're on, but you're not on. Where are you on?
Here I am.
I know some people sometimes say they're on, and but
I
they're on
love.
they're on the
I
YouTube watching.
I didn't know. I didn't go on to enter studio.
Enter studio. Yes, you got to enter the studio.
I've
Um,
got to enter
well,
the studio.
well, Diana Mackenzie. Good evening, and thank you for coming on. And of course, I just played the video again. I played the video earlier, and I just played it again, so people can understand what's happening and what big things are going on. And here's the video,
Good.
which I just public. UK Jamaicans have their say this Saturday at Birmingham City University with your host, Councillor Diana Mackenzie, the Reverend Desmond Jadu, and also joining us from Birmingham, Zuri Dejan, discussing the whole implications, and with constitutional expert Mr. Matunda Makula, hailing from Jamaica, Donna Scott Motley, Senator, and Professor Rosalie Hamilton from Advocacy Network, and with Mr. Sylbourne Sydial. Join us, and remember, register on Eventbrite this Saturday, August the 12th, 2023, Birmingham City University. Have your say, Birmingham. Jamaica becoming a republic. Thank you. Okay. Now, what's going on there in Birmingham? Why is Jamaica wanting to be a republic? So I must say, somebody over here just said a while ago on TikTok, he's white and royal. People can get over it and bond with it, or go to Africa who has black kings. Somebody said.
Listen,
Yeah.
the conversation is quite comical. Quite comical when you listen to some folks in the community. So why are we going to Birmingham? We're going to Birmingham because a little island of over 2.5 million people is considering what the term independence really means. And then you have the ties with our old colonial masters. And even though for 61 years we've been saying that we're independent, I think my generation and after started to explore the idea of independence and realized that Jamaica is not really independent. We're not really independent because, we still have our head of state.
Yes.
As
As
the
the
king.
as the guy said, the white king, long live the king.
And in Jamaica, 2023. Now that is something for us to consider.
Yes.
2023, Jamaica has a king. Now, if you had said that to the lay person on the street back in the 80s, the 90s, that Jamaica has a king. Yes, we understand the links with the United Kingdom, with Britain, but to
Yes.
actually see ourselves as a country with a king, a lot of us we didn't process that, but that's what it is. A king is the head of our state. It was a queen then, but a king is the head of state. When the queen passed away, he
Yes.
became the head of the state of Jamaica, and that's just amazing to think about.
Yes.
So the government has put on their big pants, and they have said it's time for us to make that decision whether or not, let us pick up from where previously governments and administrations have left off, and let us start conversation whether or not Jamaica, you know, is going to go down the road of liberation, independence from Britain. So that's why we're here, because Jamaica has decided that it's time to cut ties in that way. And yes, we have started a consultation, started a journey, and we still don't know where it is going to lead,
Yeah.
because as my understanding, you know what I love about this, Sylbourne, I love the fact that I'm learning as I go along. I am not one
Yeah.
of the experts. I can tell that you probably have some experts lined up to come on. I'm not one of the experts, and I'm
Yeah.
learning as I go along as a Jamaican. So I
Yeah.
feel kind of excited and energized over the whole process. Do we have things to consider? Absolutely. But there is an energy that I feel in the atmosphere, that we can tap into it, because we can rewrite our own history, if only we know how to do it without some of our old, I don't know, baggages,
Yes.
whether be
But,
it
but
political,
yeah.
be it social,
Yeah.
be it
But
economical. We can
yeah.
rewrite our history. So yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Dan Mackenzie. I've got Gary Graham here, and Gary is hailing from Birmingham. He's waiting with a red carpet for you to come to Birmingham, right, Gary?
Oh, Gary.
I'm not sure. Listen, don't listen to half what Sylbourne says, you know. Yeah.
I try not to, Gary. I try not to, because Birmingham is making me nervous. So I am anticipating.
No, I think Birmingham will welcome you with open arms. I don't think you have anything to worry about what Birmingham can offer or will say
Thank
to you.
you.
I think as I caught to what you're saying, and I must say hi to yourself, Diane, and to
Hello.
Sylbourne, and
Mm.
it's great to be a part of the Sydial, the Sydial TV. It's good to be a part of that.
It's my first time. It's my first time, Gary.
Okay, okay. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
This is I think, as Sylbourne probably would admit, I'm part of the furniture now anyway. So
Yes,
In
I have seen you on couple occasions. I've seen you on couple occasions.
okay. Well, I hope I haven't frightened you, or I don't make myself as a buffoon. I hope I've
but Dan, you're here, and we might just keep you here for a bit, if you don't
Okay.
mind. Yeah. Um, just a quick one before we move on. 'Cause in regards to this weekend, what is it that you are trying to achieve? Of course, I'm working with you, but what is it that you're trying to achieve? And what was the drive that propelled you or inspired you to do these programs? Because there's one you had recently in Nottingham, and there's one in Birmingham on Saturday. And on the 26th, you're going to come to London. What was it that inspired you for this debate? And can Jamaicans in the diaspora make a difference in Jamaica as to if Jamaica can be a republic or not? I know that's a full, but again, just talk. I can remind you.
Jamaicans anywhere can make a difference to what happens in Jamaica. Jamaicans in the diaspora anywhere. So what? Let's answer the first question. What is it that sparked my interest? I watched the first town hall meeting with the Honourable Minister Marlene Malahou Fort
Mm.
and her team when they were in. I can't remember where they'd gone. I think in Montego Bay,
Yeah.
and I watched that, and I was quite intrigued with the whole setup and the discussion. But I didn't take it rather personal. I was intrigued, I was interested, but I didn't take it personal. I think my interest kind of spiked when I'd gone to a diaspora conference in July, and it
Brunel
was,
University.
yes, it was at the Brunel, I think, University. It was well led by Dr. Kevin Brown working with the High Commission team, and they looked and examined and discussed some big topics, the Windrush scandal and the legacy of Windrush. They left for last something that I thought was the most important, because this present day has impacted should be the interest of all Jamaicans. And that part of their program, they left that for the last. And I think it wasn't done much service. And they had an excellent group of panelists there, but they didn't draw out from the audience, and the audience didn't feel as if they were getting as much as they wanted. So I went away a little bit, oh, we could have done better. Now, my background is emergency nursing, and Garry, in emergency services, we run towards problems, don't run away from them. And it seems I have kept that in my nature as a person. So I sat down and I had to think about it. And from my Christian faith, I can only say I felt challenged in my spirit to say that if you see a problem, normally if you see a problem, it's for you to do something about it.
Yes.
So I said, okay, we can have, and I started thinking about just one. So I called an old friend, Mr. Makulu, and I said, is there something we can do? And he signed on and he was like, yeah. And I said, 3, Nottingham, Birmingham, and London. And he's like, okay. So it came out of this desire to really want to pull the whole constitution process apart, to want us to deep dive, to want us to be engaged, to want to see what we think and what we could contribute. And it pretty much has taken on a life of its own. When we did Nottingham on the 28th of July,
yes,
I was amazed. We had some very amazing resources. We had Sujay Buswell from the Constitution Reform Committee representing the youth voice, and he is a dynamic. Listen, when I listened to Sujay, I just felt like Jamaica is in good hands for the future, because he was bright, he was articulate, he was very attentive, and it's as if he was in the crowd with us.
Yes, it was very close. Yeah.
No, he did very well. And then we also had the wonderful Professor Rosalie Hamilton, and she's just a down-to-earth person who knows how to communicate with the audience, and she knows how to simplify big hitting stuff. So she did that, and that was amazing. We also had Dr. Kevin Brown on the panel. We had Matunda Makulu, barrister, and I say my resident expert on all things constitution.
And former acting public defender in Jamaica as well.
Yes. I was very proud of that young man. And then we had talking about a little bit about the Windrush was Pastor Clive Foster. So that team, along with the audience that came, we just pulled it apart. And what I recognized, that there was this thirst for information, but a deficit of knowledge. Yes. And I think we could have gone on for a very long time. And it is so much so that when we did a poll at the end of the evening to say, to king or not to king, and everybody was in agreement, not to king, let us move on with this. But then when we looked at in Nottingham, when we looked at, okay, so what kind of setup do we want? What kind of president? Because if we go into a republic, we are going to have a president. So what kind of president do we want? Do we want a ceremonial president that is selected and appointed by the government? Or do we want an elected president, one that the people would elect? And that is where the room just kind of went silent, and they're like, oh, well, that's a different kind of question, because no, we have more questions. Because looking historically at Jamaica's political system and the political beast that Jamaica is, we're not too sure we want the government to select. So where will power lie? Who will have the power? And I sense that Nottingham is saying we want the people to have the power, but how will it work? and so we were left with a lot of teasers, a lot of questions that needed to be answered. So that was Nottingham, and I can't wait to see what Garry and Birmingham will bring on.
Garry, you're the man. Well, I just want to bring in a Clive Morrison. He just jumped in and he said, he used the word dishonorable. There's nothing honorable with this Jamaican government. I'm
Oh
concerned
dear.
already. I'm concerned already just in your overview. I agree we have a fundamental role in the diaspora to shape our future moving
Yes.
forward. I think what we take from that is the role of the diaspora to shape our future moving forward. While we're at this topic, Garry, I know you have your views as well. What's your take in regards to what Diana said? Councillor Diana said.
Well, I agree with her in that the people needs to be heard. It's not just to have it just as a tick box exercise, and that's my fear. As we said over the many weeks, Sylbourne,
Yes.
and even remember last week, and for the past couple of weeks again, you haven't shared the information as you did before, but with the election that took place some years back, where
Yes.
just less than a quarter now.
Yeah.
Now, my fear is, and just like what Mr. Morrison you mentioned, and I read, where he says there is nothing
Honorable.
honorable. Now, I don't want to cast doubt on those who have been elected, like Mr. Holness and such. I mean, that's not our job. But the thing about it is that I fear what may happen. I fear what may happen, because we could go through the exercise of going to London, Birmingham, Nottingham. We could even come to Leeds. We could go to all of the major places where Jamaicans are. Bristol. We could go to Bristol. There's a large community there. And hear the views of the constituents there. But will they be heard? That's the next thing. Will it all come into the frame? Because it's all right to know that the Jamaica electorate and the politicians wants to move towards a presidential type of government, but then on the other hand, there are elements within the political regime at this time that is there just for themselves. Now these elements could all well deny all possibility of political hierarchy. Everybody can deny that. But when it comes down to the brass tacks, when it comes down to the very day, to the very moment of election, they want it. They want power.
And Garry, just to back up your figure, what you're saying a while ago, just pull up the figures. It was 37.4 to 37.45% voted at the last election, September the 3rd, 2020. 764,000 people voted. 408,000 voted for the present JLP. 306,000 voted for the PNP. And on the voters list, Diana, it was 1.913. So therefore, what we are saying is that the government of Jamaica, which is in power, only had 408,000 people that voted for them. So really and truly, can we say they have a mandate? Can we say that?
Really.
We got the government that we got the government that our people allow, or our people. We got what it's a reflection of where we are as Jamaicans. And we have some really hard conversations that we need to have as ourselves as citizens. I hear people talking about how civic subjects were removed from schools, and that has had an impact on how we view citizenship. Now, I know I'm not alone when I think that as much as the government has a responsibility, citizens have a responsibility also, because it is for the people, by the people. It is the people that really has the power. And what we have done is we have relegated our power to the politicians. And it's a lazy form of existence. It's a lazy and irresponsible form of existence for us as Jamaicans, or in any country for that matter, when as a citizen you do not do your duty to hold those the
In political
elected.
power. Mm.
You do not do that because you have a right to do that. There is nothing that says you because we have elected an MP, a prime minister, or whoever, that we now relegate responsibility and say, look, the country is for you to run whatever you say. You know what I mean? So we have, as a people, we need to take some responsibility for what is happening in Jamaica. And the truth of the matter is, as much as the prime minister or any leader has that responsibility, and it's a big responsibility, and not many people can step up to that plate. It's a big responsibility. And as much as the prime minister has stepped up to the plate and he's leading, he cannot do that in isolation of the people. There are areas that we as citizens need to say, you know what, we failed the government because we failed to hold them to account. I listened to a report and a debate once, and it was saying that the Jamaica Labour Party in its present form is the most corrupt government that has come into existence in Jamaica. And at that time, do you know what what Jamaicans were talking about? Jamaicans were talking about Bro God and Clarks.
Yes.
That is what Jamaicans were talking about. When you had big scandals, you had the Maritime Institute scandal, you had the PSOJ scandal, you had so many big things. You had the prime minister won't reveal his earnings or whatever. You had so many big things. But Jamaica was preoccupied with the shoe the prime minister wear, if he can dance, how handsome he is.
Yeah.
You see
So
what I mean?
so what you're trying to say is that there's a lot of majoring on the minor and not majoring on the major things in Jamaica. And what you're saying is,
minor things.
and what
You know,
you're
it's
saying is that and what you're saying is that people, and we're talking back home, need to take more of a responsibility, because I speak to some of the different advocacy networks and integrity in action in Jamaica, and what they're actually saying is that there's a reality which is down there whereby people are more so focused on living day by day to survive, and sometimes they do not have the time in order to go out and do some of these things, and they are relying on us, they're relying on you at the same time, us, to be able to speak up on their behalf. But as you rightly say, you can't speak up on their behalf. They have to come out, in it, right, Garry?
Absolutely.
Yes. I mean, I would just like to I don't know if it's to add or what I may say, to complement what Diana said.
Yes.
Or is saying, but I think in every dispensation or every decade, let us say, the political landscape has changed, and 30, 40 years back, they would say that the PMP was the most
Corrupted.
Corrupted. Then it will be the JLP who's the most corrupted. Then it's the PMP again, which is the most corrupted. I mean, I think that politics is corrupt.
Yes.
Across the board, really. And whoever may be in, they're just in it for their own ends and for their own means.
Yes.
And I think that Mr. Holness, now I'm not paid by Mr. Holness, so I don't know what his policies are and such. I haven't really looked at it in finer detail. But I think he's coming at a very, very difficult stage in the life of Jamaica and in the world, because the world has more or less dictated what Jamaica does. And because the United States and other major countries are going through what they're going through financially, economically, and all the other areas that they have to deal with. Jamaica has to deal with it when they deal with whatever they're dealing with, and whoever was in power, whether it was Golden or not, I don't know if they would be able to do any better. Really, I don't know. I can't say, but I believe that. Yeah, go ahead, Diana.
Yeah.
I disagree with you in terms of the period that Andrew Holness came into office. Andrew Holness came into office, and we need to kind of look globally. Andrew Holness came into office on the back of Barack Obama. Do you remember that? Because Barack Obama had such an impact on the world. And let us be frank.
The youth factor as well. The youth factor.
Yes. So I stayed from the United Kingdom, and I campaigned like crazy on social media for Andrew Holness, because in my mind, Andrew Holness was with youth, with vitality, with energy, with a new vision, and he was coming in with all of that. So I was telling all of Jamaica, vote for him, give the young people a chance to do this, right? He was coming in with popularity, with a sense of, let me go back. We're all in the United Kingdom, so I wanted to rest that aside and make a little note. When Tony Blair left office and Gordon Brown was knocking on the door that he wanted to be prime minister, and he
After the deal they made.
Yes, and he finally became prime minister, right? And it was it David Cameron that was opposing and running against him, and everybody was going after David Cameron because David Cameron is fresh-faced, handsome, charismatic gentleman. Now we know that the country was safe in the hands of Gordon Brown until Gordon had to use a little line that says, "This is not a popularity contest, right? This is talking about real leadership." What Andrew Holness came in with,
but then Gordon Brown said we don't have the money. Then Gordon Brown said we don't have the money. Money done.
Well, he was being assured as. Remember, Gordon Brown was with Tony Blair for all those years of prosperity and all those wonderful years. He was the Chancellor of the Exchequer. So now it is that he comes to the reign, and what it is that befell Gordon Brown was not his inexperience, because he was very experienced. It was the way he didn't come across as a handsome, charismatic person like David Cameron. So Andrew Holness has come into play with all those characteristics. And what it is that voters go for, they are for the optics. A lot of our voters know nothing about manifestos. They know nothing about policies. They literally listen and they go for the optics. Andrew Holness.
No, go on.
Andrew came in with all of these things. So he had full command of the, yes, Sylbourne.
No. I'm just want to jump in right there. Is that people need to finally wake up and stop look at these optics and all these sort of dynamism and Clarks and Brogard and all those thought, and look at policies and really get into the deep things.
Yes. So when the DJs, Garry, when the DJs put on some song and the Prime Minister get on stage and he shook his shoulder, Jamaica go, whoa, that's our Prime Minister, as if that's all it took.
Yes.
So Andrew came in at a time with very strong backing, even though the votership protested. A lot of them, and we're talking about the middle class, upper class Jamaicans, protested and said, we're not voting for nobody because we know the business are all under the same thing, right? But the masses of Jamaicans who went out and voted for the JLP, what it was that they were, we have the loyalty of the Jamaica Labour Party, PMP, but what he had was he captured the mind of the young people in Jamaica. And because of that, he really had a force behind him. So he didn't come at a time when it was most difficult. He came right to the bat. He came with his bat and ball right at a time when he could have knocked out some really good innings, and he didn't.
Okay. All right. Somebody just said a while ago there's been some new policies implemented by the current UK government which benefit Jamaica. I'll have to ask a person what is it specifically that is. I don't know if they're talking about the barge the barge for the asylum seekers or so.
Right.
But I want to just move away from this briefly because I just realized that we have talked on. You're supposed to come for 5 minutes, but you're gonna stay here all very. I wanted to just bring up something here of recent days, and if we can speak into it briefly. But in the UK, the government has now unleashed. I don't know if it's unleashed, but the barge for asylum seekers now on the water to say that's the way forward. I know Gary have been talking about this, but Dan, I don't know if you got any views in this and in regard to the barge, which is out
I,
there.
as a
I,
counselor, I do not.
Diana,
You know,
are you a Labour councillor,
I
Conservative
am
councillor,
indeed. I am.
Labour,
I am
Labour,
indeed. Yes.
Labour?
okay,
Yes.
Okay. So
okay.
you really don't want to say much at all, then, do you?
Not just a pretty face, but I'm wise with the little gray hairs that are in my head.
Well, it's very interesting. What they're actually saying is that the barge, and they said if people don't go on the barge, and then it can have the same thing. Gary, they say if people don't go on the barge, they are going to remove
Yes.
um their finances and their support, Gary.
Yes.
What they're trying to what I sense that they're trying to do is the persons who are supposed to be the what do you call them, the gangsters or the ones who are trafficking them, they won't be able to put up this nice brochure and say you're going to be placed in this lush lovely hotel, 5-star hotel, you're going to be placed on this barge, and the fire brigade is saying that it's a disaster threat or so. It was for 200, but they're going to put 500 young men, they say. Yeah, Gary, what's your take on that? Somebody just said the barge is fine. I guess maybe they have been there. Have you been in the barge? Or in Troy, Rohan? Someone on TikTok. Have you slept in the barge? This is what I'm asking. I'm not saying the barge is wrong or right, but for someone to say the barge is fine, I've got to ask them the question: have you been there? Have you slept in there? But anyway, you can answer that. Gary, yeah, what's your take on the barge? Yeah.
No, I mean, did I hear you correctly to say that the fire service has not
Well,
okayed
that's
it?
what that's what I've been hearing, and I don't, and I've got to be careful at the same time because when I listen to the sound bites from different persons who are opposing the barge, they said it's for 200, not for 500. 500, they say, is a disaster waiting to happen. Even though someone said the health and safety executive gave the all clear. All depends, I believe, on who you're listening to. And Dan, you don't have to say anything, but you can read your mind.
I will not say anything that might harm my defense in a court of law.
Yeah.
No, I mean, listen, well, you know how I feel, Sylbourne. I don't know if Diane has heard me express myself when it comes to people coming here. Now, listen, all of us here that's on this platform here right now, to some extent, well, let me just talk for myself in a sense. My parents came here, then now they went back home, stayed there for a few years, and then went on to the United States. But all of us, to some extent, I've had parents, I believe, who's moved out of Jamaica for whatever reason. They've had to go back home if they've gone back home and such. That's fine. That's okay. Why are we? So we understand. We understand what it is that people want to better themselves. They want to better their life. They want to better their life. I'm totally against the aspect of them coming here and then this government then shipping them off to Rwanda, as you know so very well. I'm not for that. If they had Rwanda on their minds to go, Diane, then when they left with it, they would have headed to Rwanda.
They would have gone to yes.
They would have gone straight there. Why are we shipping them off there? And then if I can say the ironic thing about the whole thing is that who's shipping them? Who is then taking them off? It is 2 Asians and 1 black man. Run, Rishi, Braverman, and Cleverly. It's not even white politicians in power that's doing that. It's people whose families have come
Yes.
here for a better life.
Mm.
Come here, and they're shipping the likes of themselves out. No, that could never be right. How can
But
that
Gary,
ever be?
but Gary,
You know,
as you actually pinpoint those names, but it's a policy thing whereby they fit within the scheme of the bigger
no, no,
picture.
no, 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 no. They ought
Yeah,
to be. They ought to be speaking up for you and me and everybody, whether they agree with their policies or not. They ought to be. Listen, it's like you and I, and you're talking against me on a particular thing. You don't care about me, even though you know where I'm coming from.
yeah,
You know what I'm having to face in society or the community that I'm in. I'm not
yeah,
all. I shouldn't have to be looking over my shoulder because Sylbourne is talking.
yeah,
No, I should be able to sit back
yeah,
and be confident enough to know that Mr. Sydial is speaking on my behalf
yes,
and is looking after my welfare. But in this case, right, we have individuals who their own families have had to leave for whatever reason. For whatever reason, it didn't have to be
yeah,
war, didn't have to be famine, didn't have to be anything like that. For their own reasons, they left for wherever they were, whether anywhere in the Caribbean or in Africa. They came to the UK because they had little children. Them. Some of them weren't
so so,
born.
so
They
yeah.
weren't born here. They were brought here as children. Yeah, they came here because
So
they
Gary,
wanted
yeah,
their children. Listen, they wanted their children
yeah,
to have a better education and to have better opportunities of life.
Yes.
yeah. So, so
These
Gary,
same
yeah,
hold on. I want to make a point here,
yeah,
Sylbourne.
yeah, go on, yeah,
These
yeah,
same
Oh, let him
individuals,
land. Let him land.
yeah, go on.
these same individuals, Sylbourne, who have come here, they've been educated to the highest level. They've married into families that are now million and billionaires. Yes, these same individuals who now hold high office, they look down on individuals like us as if
Yeah.
we don't belong here.
Mm.
And they
Gary,
want now to ship them to a place so that they don't have the same opportunities that they were afforded to be. I think that is wrong. That is not righteous. That can never be righteousness. Never.
You,
yeah,
as you talk
go on,
about
Dan.
that cannot be righteous. I can only apply my Christian faith to what your position is, or my own personal position. And I am very careful in how the scriptures kind of guide in teaching us how to look after those that are strangers among us. And we the minute we start giving them labels and we attach a certain level of derogatory expression to them, then we have somewhat taken away some of their humanity. And so we call them asylum seekers, not human beings, but asylum seekers. And there are policies to deal with asylum seekers and refugees and aliens, such a term to be used among ourselves. So I can only look and say, hang on, there has to be another way. There has to be another way that you're looking at how to deal with this problem. Because let us look at some facts. And I hear you, Gary, and God knows I would never ever come out in defense of the Conservative Party. I do not mind if they implode, and I do not mind if they start.
She has finally spoken, Gary, on a political angle.
Okay.
I thought you were
But
hutching. Yeah, go on. Yeah,
what we have is a government, and we cannot just see the government as Rishi Sunak, Suella Braverman, and Cleverly. We can't just see them as the policymakers. They are up front, but they are acting within some constraints of government,
Yes.
right? And we talk about citizenship earlier on, and getting the kind of government that we deserve or we want. So when you look at the old Brexit conversation and you look at why we voted Brexit, now you're going to why we're sending asylum seekers, people who have escaped dire circumstances to find safety in another country. You know why that said country is now passing them off somewhere else.
Okay. All
And
right.
just see three people.
Okay.
You have to
All right.
see a United Kingdom that out of their sense of protectionist
Yes.
of what we have, that we don't
Yes.
want anybody else to come here. It is
Yes.
out of that that the government is responding.
Yes.
So, but these are the same citizens
Yes.
who, when Ukraine had a war, opened their doors.
Okay. Let's take a pin there. Let's take a pin. Owen, are you there?
Yes, hello.
I've got someone on TikTok who want to say something. You guys can't just speak for yourself. You got to get other people in. Owen, what you have to say, sir? He's on TikTok.
I haven't heard enough discussion in regards to how migrants coming here illegally were affecting Jamaicans. They were coming into the communities where Jamaicans reside, and they were cannibalizing communities. So any policy which prevents people coming to the UK immediately benefits Jamaicans.
You heard that point there.
No, not quite.
Policies which are used to somewhat hold back migrants. Is that correct, Owen? Am I saying it right? Benefit Jamaicans.
That is correct. It's not Jamaicans coming through France and crossing boats. And when migrants come to the UK, they naturally go to where social housing is. Social housing predominantly holds Jamaicans.
You said something earlier, Owen, that what you said, the Brit not the British people. You mentioned a point that there are safe and legal channels. Economic migrants are here to abuse the state, and it is a drain on the society. What's your take? Say repeat what you said there when you're writing there, Owen.
Yes, so the social state is paid by taxes. If you've got people coming into the UK and the government is using the funds allocated for the social state for migrants, it reduces the quality of services that people here benefit from. And then what happens in turn is you start to receive complaints.
Um,
Yeah. I don't, well, I mean, I can't say anything personally. I appreciate the comments that Owen has given and such. I don't have anything to say for or against what Owen has said, because obviously he's speaking from a um, aspect of being informed. He's giving an informed um, point of view. So that may be so. That may be so. I think anybody that comes in, not only Jamaican, but anybody that comes in, whenever if this is what Owen is saying, anybody else that comes in on the back of asylum seekers, yes, if they are being looked after and such, then everybody else, even if they're not asylum seekers, they also benefit from whatever the asylum seekers are getting, and that may be right. That may be right. But if I can just add something also, still, I mean, Clive Morrison, you know, he's put a statement there. That's fine. That's okay, Clive. But he then says Christianity have nothing to do with it. I think Christianity has a lot to do. In my point of view, why? Because England from the time our people were shipped from the Caribbean here was a Christian country.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that England has a lot to do with how Christianity and how
Was
our
exported
minds,
around the
yes,
world.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
Diane. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe, right, what is happening now in the UK, our Christianity is being eroded for all other religions. They have more say than what we do. It would seem that at the expense of us as Christians, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you're a Christian. I don't know, I don't know if Diane is. I know that Sylbourne is flying high on it. But
That is
the thing about it, right, is that you see, we seem to forget what this country did, exported, ravished, raped, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then when Windrush and other boats were coming here under the leadership of Winston Churchill, if anybody at all remembers that documentary, I can't remember his name that did it, and I wish I think it was Channel 4 that aired that. If I can find that documentary and look at it again, the
Mm-hmm.
information that was given, that when that ship was coming to this country with our people, it came before I was born. Yeah, he, Winston Churchill, a man revered by the citizens of this country as as one of the greatest leaders of the United Kingdom.
yes.
Right? It was revealed that he picked up his phone and tried to turn them ships around, or even send it to Africa to pick peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
That's documented. And you're telling me, yeah, that Christianity, this country is formed and based on Christianity, and yet we are not following the teachings of the Bible that this country has been based upon. Now, Diane, she mentioned about, well, she alluded, if I can, to when God, let me just give you a little religious history here.
Go for it.
God said to Israel, right, when they were traveling from Egypt to the promised
Mm.
land, that that the strangers, the foreigners,
Yes.
those that traveled with them, they were to not treat them as the Israelites were treated. Yes,
Yes.
they should treat them, you know, as as
As
as
brothers.
as brothers,
Yes.
Yes.
treat them
Principle of the Good Samaritan, is it?
Mm-hmm.
well, I don't know about the Good Samaritan, but they were to treat them as brothers. Don't
Yeah.
treat them as slaves, because they must remember that they were slaves. Now, the
Mm.
thing about it, my friend, when people are coming here from a country that is war torn, some of them can't, and I understand there may be terrorists coming in amongst them, one and two and such. I understand the fear of all of that,
Uh,
but they can't just treat
sorry,
people.
Gary. Gary, one second. Troy just said,
Sorry,
"Oh,
sorry to interject, Gary, but not maybe. Factually speaking, the terrorists have been coming through that route. That's a fact. And
No,
they've
no,
been,
no. I understand that. No,
yeah.
I'm not. I'm not rubbishing that at all, Owen. No. Sorry if I've alluded to that. There are terrorists that that are using those means, and they will use whatever. They may even come over using a passport and coming off as if they're businessmen. They'll use whatever means that is afforded to them to come over to do their harm. I
Mm.
understand and I accept that. But I believe that we ought to be able to treat genuine people, genuine people. Don't ship them off as if they're rubbish. They are genuine people, I'm sure, that we must be able to look after and help them.
okay.
But
Can I?"
genuine people would take the safe and legal routes. There's
Mm.
work visas, there's student visas, there's family
Um,
visas. What other metrics are required?
Can I just before we come in, Diana? On TikTok, someone said the nonsense of the crisis, refugee crisis, is push cause the Tories have no economic direction to offer. And in 1964, the Tories used anti-migrant rhetoric against Caribbean people to vote. I just want to say that because someone is saying that. Dan, you're saying
when Owen said that they can come with using visas and all these things, absolutely true, Owen. But how much are they going to pay? I know that people are saying they pay an arm and a leg or whatever to be trafficked, and I suspect not all of them do.
one second, Owen, and then I go Dan, and then Owen come in.
I
Sorry.
suspect not all of them do. But when you come into the United Kingdom, if you come in as a visitor first, or you get 1 year, and after that you have to pay. You're going to work a minimum wage job, and you will have to now pay over £1,000. And God help you if you have more than two of you in a family. So much money in order to stay here. Yes, in order to stay here. So the system is not perfect. And whether it is a Labour government or a Conservative government, the problems are the same. And I think we need to come to a place where we understand that the old way of managing the difficulties and the challenges we have present day 2023, the old system is not going to work. Because what you have, it's not going to work. Because if you have a country or citizens that are very much scared of everyone coming in. Now, these are the people who like to go to other people's countries and put up residence. So immigration is not when they do it, it's when you come here, right? So these are the folks that are saying they're coming to steal our jobs. They're coming to, well, that was Trump in America to said they rape our women and all of this malarkey. But the information that we had, why immigration should be curtailed, that has changed. Back in the day, our foreparents came here and they built this country. Now, you're now having an established, we're not having any more bombing. The cost is not bombed, and we need to fix that again. So you're not having that. What you have now is a generation, a population that is decreasing in old age. And now there are jobs that need to be done. And what we're understanding that statistics is telling us is that most of the British population, especially the young and a certain marginalized group, even do not want to work because they find it more beneficial to be on benefits. So we still have jobs that needs to be done. We have farmers that are saying we need workers. We have the hotel and hospitality industry that is saying we need workers.
Hold on, Dan.
A more creative vision at what do we do with the resource of migrant and migration, because it is a resource.
All right, Scott. Owen, say what you're saying, and then I'll come and say something. I've got to wrap up shortly. Owen, say the point you're gonna ask.
I wanted to address the point about the cost. Illegal migrants are paying in excess of £7,000 to be transported to the UK.
Says
visas
who?
are much less.
Says who?
And in regards to working opportunities and people wanting to stay on benefits, is because there's not enough Caribbean cultural leaders running businesses which are giving jobs to the people.
Yeah. You see, I want to come in here because one of the topic which I flagged up, and we'll have to come back at it another time. And I said, is Africa finally awake? And the reason why I said that is I realized I realized something. And what I realized is that the economic clout and the strength of Black people, which is what we're talking about here, is when Africa somehow stands its ground. And what we're seeing is a situation in Niger, what we're seeing a bit with Uganda, whereby
South Africa.
according to their position, the World Bank is not going to help them. According to Niger, you got uranium and all those sort of things. I believe that the strength of black people at this time, where they don't have to do all this running around, whereby they can
Hmm.
be a strong force in Africa. Plus, again, at the same time, when I look at the issue happening in Alabama recently, with the hat thrown up in the air, and
Oh,
people
you
come
didn't
out
go
and
there, Sylbourne.
no, I'm going there, I'm going there, I'm going there, but I'm not going to play the video. It
Okay.
shows it shows that there can be some level of unity, a united front, because
Hmm.
all we are talking about here, even with the republic thing, is to get power in the hands of the people. All we're talking about with migrants is power in the hands of the people. All we're talking about
Mhm.
when with even charity, somebody here on TikTok, is about power in the hands of the people. Isn't that what we're talking about? Power in
Yes.
the hands of black people, Gary. Is that what we're talking about, Gary?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what we're talking about. If there's no
Yes.
power, then we are split all over the place, chewed out. As someone said, I think it was Ninja Man one time, or one of these guys, Benjamin Mackerel said, him get bun one time, him say him get bun bakery and everything. I'll get the bakery. I'm trying to say, the point I'm trying to say is that until we move away from some of these things and get into the deeper issues, for argument's sake, I'll give you an example. In Oxford Street, a lot of young children were breaking and robbing shops. There's a
Black
riot.
children, call it
Black,
what it is.
yeah, okay, black children. Do you what did the Home Office? What did the Home of the Home the Home Secretary said? We need to hunt them down. The rhetoric. We need to
Hmm.
hunt them down. Am I right, Owen? Even though they're wrong, he said hunt them down.
Hmm.
Hunt them down.
There's not enough black people in the UK who are delivering for the youth.
Mm.
Is the core root of the issue. Where are the black businesses which are delivering for public services, giving jobs to the youth, giving jobs to men, women, and the elderly? Where is, does anybody know a UK black billionaire?
Owen, as someone who has a business, can I just say that
What's the
sometimes we
turnover?
say these things and
What's the
it seems
turnover per year?
straightforward to say, but
You, you don't have to answer that,
finan-
Diana. It's up to you.
we know
What,
that financing and getting financial assistance to even start a business and to get the line of credit and all these things for black businesses, we know that um, there is inequality in
Jamaican
accessing some of these resources. Owen,
Jamaican government should be financing UK businesses. Where is the Jamaican government's finance for UK black businesses?
So, Owen, so what you're trying to say is that the Jamaican government, the Angela administration, should be actually financing or supporting Jamaicans in
with
the
what?
UK,
With
ancestry
what?
in the UK. Is that what you're saying, Owen?
Yes, of course.
With what, Owen? With what should they finance Jamaicans in the UK? With what should they finance businesses?
Owen?
Is that a real question in this day
Yes,
and
it
age?
is. You're saying that they should finance businesses, black businesses in the UK. I'm asking you with what resources, with what capital? Have you been to Jamaica lately?
The
Can you
question
can you say Jamaica
question
has
take to the government.
huh?
Take that question to the government and put that on the table.
All right. Let's juxtapose it with with Chinese and Asians, um, and Jews. Do the government of Israel, the government of the Asian countries, India, whatever, the government of China, Japan, do they finance their people in the UK? Owen, I throw that to you because you're asking Jamaican
Sorry,
government.
repeat.
No, you mentioned a while ago that Jamaican government need to finance or to support Jamaican businesses in the UK. I'm asking you if that is the same which is being done for China, for the Chinese in the UK, Asians in the UK, and Jews.
Yes,
Is that
yes, of course they're doing that. They've been doing it for years. That's why they've got freehold properties, they've got commercial properties in prominent locations, they've got banks here. The HSBC bank is an Asian bank in its entirety. How many people use HSBC? Where's the national banks of Jamaica? Where's the representation of Jamaica in the UK in
You have the
commercial?
Jamaica National Bank, and you have the Jamaica National Bank here,
And Victoria Mutual.
and you have the Victoria Mutual Bank here. So when
Victoria Mutual only lend to people who've got assets in Jamaica.
Well, anyway, guys, this is a very interesting discussion. And
Sylbourne,
yes, Gary.
it's very interesting. And what Owen, now I would, it's funny here, probably Owen didn't stand with me tooth and nail when I was staying, but I will stand with him on this point. That is true. That is very true. But the thing about it, Owen, is this. NCB, I don't think the government in this country will allow NCB or Scotia of Jamaica or Jamaica National or Victoria Mutual operate as HSBC does. Why? In my head, and because I used to work with Victoria Mutual. I was an employee, so I've got a little bit of I'm not speaking on behalf of them, I'm just speaking on behalf of myself. But what
There are
people, we've got
to operate in the financial markets. You have to contact the Financial Conduct Authority, get yourself registered, find a property, and then deliver. They're not delivering.
Yeah, but Owen, I think that they're afraid that because we've got Jamaicans who use banks and money and as it was MoneyGram and all of them things to launder money. It comes down to drugs, and that's what they're afraid of. They don't trust us because listen, why is it? I know it's another question for another time, but let me ask this. Why is it that when we want to go to Jamaica, we're paying twice more going to Jamaica than going to the Bahamas or any other country in the Caribbean? Why?
Where's the airline? Where's the Jamaican plane?
It was.
Well, Owen, you are asking good questions.
Yes.
And we can't answer that here. But your questions, they are valid questions. But again, Jamaica has just sold off the national airline for little and nothing.
And the roots.
And that's why it's premature to ask for independence yet, because the Windrush people, Jamaicans, were invited to the UK, and we came to work and generate dividends, net benefits. Now, we haven't been able to do that as of yet.
I agree. Again, Owen.
Hold on. The resources in the UK are sufficient and plentiful for that a Jamaican born here can generate his own freedoms and deliver for Jamaica back home. Not enough people are delivering high tax receipts or acquiring high salary jobs and then communicating their needs for Jamaica back home to policy advisors. We've only got a few representations in the parliament.
But why is that, Owen? Why do you think that's the case?
Well, look, every time a Jamaican comes out and says something controversial, he gets sidelined and he gets attacked. Anytime a Jamaican politician comes out and calls on Jamaicans to do more, he gets attacked and harassed. We've only got 2 Jamaicans in the House of Lords.
Who is that?
Can I ask Sylbourne, can I ask Owen a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Owen, can you because I like to take things down to the very basics. Can I just ask what is your involvement in the vision that you're stating for Jamaica? How do you participate in making that a reality?
Well, I built a business here which is compliant to international standards. I hire Jamaica, and the intention is to deliver services here and in Jamaica, also acquiring materials below wholesale price and then delivering them to Jamaica to support the aesthetical improvements, communicating, bringing the relationship between Jamaica and the UK closer, having conversations with key policy advisors and telling them about the issues that Jamaicans face unilaterally so that they can then make change. And I've seen benefits and changes come down which benefit Jamaicans, but no one's talking about them because they weren't a part of the conversation. But I can list plenty things which the government has done which benefit Jamaicans directly. Plenty.
Right.
I think hold on. you've
No,
lit
I
Garry.
you've lit something here, Owen, that is very true. And sometimes, and I think that we are our worst enemy because we don't support and we don't help each other. Now, I've said this to Sylbourne off air and on air, and this is what I've said to Sylbourne. Yes, we are not like the Asians. They straddle the political sphere. They go into the Labour parties, they go into the Conservative parties, they go into the Liberal Democrat, whatever party, and they make representation, not so much for the party, but for themselves. What do? We don't do anything. We sit back on the sidelines complaining that nothing is happening for us. But
Or we're doing independent of each other.
yes, and you, Owen, have hit the nail on the head that there's only 2 Jamaicans in the House of Lords. Whose fault is that? It's our own fault because we've got men and women who are articulate enough. They are brilliant in the jobs that they do, and you are one of them, Owen. You could also become involved in the political sphere. But what then do? We sit back and we don't get involved in anything. Now, listen, let me surprise Diane a bit. Let me surprise Diane, yeah? Sometime back, a couple years back, right, I ran as a councillor for the Conservative Party, right?
Really?
Oh, Sylbourne friend.
Yeah, I ran, and I did the door knocking, right, in Wolverhampton, the same seat that I don't know if the leader of the Labour Party for that council is still there. I don't know, right? And I came in, I think I came in second for the first time. I haven't run again since. But the point is this: I knocked on some West Indian doors, and just because I was not representing Labour, they said to me, "Good luck. We 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 are proud of you, but we're not voting for you." Now the point is this: the point is
Sorry, Garry.
that
Sorry, Garry.
hold on.
No,
That if we
Owen.
hold on,
Owen,
listen.
one second, Owen. He's gonna finish, and then you can come in, Owen. Sorry.
Yeah, let me finish here. I won't be too long. If we as a people just supported each other, whatever party we need to be a part of, supported each other, got into the council chambers to get our point of view across for our communities wherever we lived, whether that be for health, for business, for education, whatever it is we got in there, we would have eventually more Black or more Jamaicans in the House of Lords. We would have more Blacks in Parliament as members of Parliament, and we would have more Blacks as councillors in the various councils across the country. But there are some councils that don't have one Black person on it. And that is why we are at the place where we're at, Owen. That is why we are there. Even though you're making valid points, and I'm behind you on every single one of those points, Owen, but we're not helping ourselves.
Okay, let me, Owen, before we wrap up. Yeah, Owen, I'm trying to wrap up for the past half an hour. Yeah.
In terms of helping one, if you're running a business, you want to be increasing your turnover, utilizing government resources to hire apprentices, to hire staff, utilizing tax credits to the betterment of your business. And in terms of salaries, not enough Jamaicans have the desire to upskill to obtain the high salaries. Not enough people want to. They're waiting for someone to lead. So if we're talking about the UK, who is the leader of UK Jamaicans. There isn't one, which is an issue.
Can,
So before
yeah.
we discuss independence, we should talk about who should be the UK Jamaica's leader. And then we can start getting some direction, because there is no direction.
Owen,
There's no leadership.
yeah. Owen, can you go back to what Garry was talking about there about leadership in being proactive and active in different parties, as he mentioned the Asians and the Jews or what they do. He made a brilliant point there. What you say on that?
Yes, I'll definitely address that, because there's a gang culture. And if you're not following the group narrative, then you're looked at funny. I'm not in the Labour Party. I don't support their policies. I don't like them. That's a fact. And I'll speak loudly and proudly about what the Conservatives have done for Jamaicans. If we talk about the women, because in any aspect of thinking about people, you have to think about the women, the children, the elderly, the disabled, the vulnerable, and the children. Now, in the UK, those metrics of people are covered by the state. It's not a UK Jamaican running a business, turning over billions, and then delivering for those said people. So until those people are catered for by a Jamaican institution, then we can start to make demands about this and that. But when it comes to business, not enough people are delivering high tax receipts. Not enough people are doing international trade. Not enough people are doing charitable donations for the betterment of the human race, regardless of color. Because you can't always just focus on color. We have to think of the human race in its entirety. So sometimes a UK business who is black may have to use his business to deliver for humans regardless of color. So there needs to be impartiality when you're speaking about economics, social economics, and geopolitics. And one issue I want to touch on is that we need to shake off labels which colonize us. There is no such place called the West Indies. West India is inside India. There's no place. We need to shake that off immediately and start to deliver for ourselves with the resources that the UK has. Because the UK, I'm telling you now, is not racist at all. There are people who are racist, who are in positions which apply their racist rhetorics. But the resources required, the tax receipts, the VAT reclaiming, the apprenticeships, there's so many resources and not enough people are using them. You have to get your international standards certifications. You have to get public contracts.
Okay. Oh, now, Dan, you were saying?
I want to agree with so much of what Owen is saying. And I think for myself, Sylbourne, one of the things we talk about the Asians, we talk about the Chinese, we talk about all the other groups. One of the things that they have over us as Jamaicans, as West Indians, he said no West Indians, as Black people, it's the way and the structure in which they do things as a community. They are united and we are not. So where Owen is talking about Jamaicans that needs to be doing high ticket taxation and all of that. I have a big book here of Jamaicans in the United Kingdom who are phenomenal. It's a massive book. And I can share that with Owen. We have lawyers, we have doctors, we have politicians, we have business people, we have educators.
They're all
he knows the book.
I've already done my research. They're all in the Labour Party and they're all supporting things which suppress Jamaicans.
For me, no, but Owen, for me, they're not, I'm not looking at them. You're talking about Jamaicans. I'm sticking to what you're saying. And you're talking about Jamaicans. What we do not have is a unity that brings us together. A unity where so you in your business, you're probably doing all the things you say you're doing, but which other Black business, which other Black Jamaican business are you linking with to be more impactful in serving our community? So you're doing it in pockets, but we're not doing it as a community.
Okay. Let's okay. No.
Let this develop.
No. If it develops, it goes into 3 hours. And Owen, what I'm going to encourage you, and I'm going to invite you to come on to the show. Garry and I just said you need to do that. I got Clarity Ends over here on TikTok as well. He said, Jesus, people just haven't a clue about the UK. The data is there for people to look up. And another
The
person.
data will show 100. The data will show 150,000 people coming from Pakistan every year for the last 10 years. It will show 150,000 people coming from India, Bangladesh. Where is the UK businesses facilitating Jamaican visas? Where is the UK businesses facilitating Jamaican scholarships? Where are the UK commercial institutions? Oxford Street, this, that. Most of the Jamaican restaurants here are not even freehold. They're renting from an Asian. Come on, there's too many problems.
Actually, that is so right, because I'm actually dealing with a matter with someone as well. He's renting from a nation. Jamaica need to bring back the tailors and shoemakers and etc. Eat and shop locally. Listen, we've opened up not a can of worm, but a discussion which I really want to take on further. As I said, is as Africa awake, is awake. But
we need to be awake.
Yeah.
Ethiopia is the birthplace of mankind. We need to follow our lineage past West Africa and go to Ethiopia, see our lineage, see our people. We don't need to get trapped in West Africa. And West Africa are culpable for some parts of slavery. So we need to ask reparations from them there as well.
Hear that?
They will
Hear that? Reparations come from all different angles. Owen, listen, I want to thank you so much for joining. And Diana, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, some will talk about independence. I like what Owen said. We need independence. So, Owen, as far as you're concerned, Jamaica is not an independent country, yeah?
No.
What, in regards to independence, Jamaica hasn't seen or received the benefits from Windrush yet. They haven't received it. There's been persecution. There's been all sorts of problems. So I understand their metric, considering the problems that Jamaica faces now. But right now, with the policies that have been brought in place, it's time for Jamaicans to get into the commercial industrial industries by buying freehold properties and hiring Jamaicans from here and Jamaicans abroad, creating fruitful, buoyant businesses which deliver dividends for the people. And also, I want to call out the men, because the marriage rates are low. So the men need to buy houses and marry.
I am beginning to love this young man, Sylbourne. Where in the country are you? London, East Midlands?
I'm in London.
Well, Owen, Owen is on TikTok, and what I've done, I've just put the phone so he can see, because he's not seeing, he's only seeing me, but I've just now pointed the video so you can see the people. Owen, of course, I'm on YouTube as well, so you can always watch it on YouTube. I don't know if you know that. But
please make sure he comes to the London event.
Oh yes, and make sure you come to the London event for Jamaica becoming a republic as well, which is on the 26th. Ladies and gentlemen, remember this Saturday in Birmingham, all is invited as well in Broom Broom, where we're gonna have the next series of Jamaica becoming a republic. And what I'll do before I go, I'll just play the quick clip, because there's more persons on here. Birmingham City University, have your say, Birmingham. Jamaica becoming a republic. Thank you. Okay, are we all agree? Jamaica to become a republic? Yes or no?
I'm just hosting, Sylbourne. I'm facilitating.
You say not yet.
I'm looking forward to the conversation.
The two things I want to see first. First of all, I don't want to see the IMF have a stranglehold on Jamaica. So once the IMF are not there and Jamaica is self-sufficient in their own right, and Jamaicans in the UK are delivering for the UK and Jamaica, then it's a fruitful topic. But we have to understand the tax laws are underwritten by the UK. So the whole fiscal policy that Jamaica benefits from has come from the UK. And I want to say clearly, there's no racism in the UK. Some people have a victim mindset and they haven't applied the upskilling required to generate their own.
I am very sorry, I disagree with that about no racism.
No. Owen, you can come to the debate, come to the discussion on the 26th, yeah? Okay, Owen?
On the 26th of August?
Yes, at Brixton House.
Wait, Sylbourne, can you please?
Brixton is a labor heavy
Sylbourne.
strategically towards
Still,
Sylbourne, can we share details with Owen? I would love to speak with him in terms of getting him involved in some of the things that we're doing. And I would personally like if he would sponsor some of the stuff that we have going. See, I will always take the opportunity to say, Owen, that as a Jamaican trying to gather our community to have poignant discussions, that I would love if you would come on board and help me to get that done.
Cool. Sylvan, can you send me the number? I'm gonna call that now.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that for you. I'll do that for you, bro. Definitely.
Yes. I mean, for me, last, I think it would be really very good. Probably even for the next show, you send the link to Owen. Let Owen come on the link and share, because I think he's speaking a lot of things that I think that a lot really don't know.
Yes.
I think he's saying a lot of things that's very interesting.
However, we've got to balance it out, because Scotty say you're talking BS, mate. Owen.
Well, I mean, Scotty just thinks that he is the one that is only talking sense.
Scotty think he's the only one who's always right, anyhow.
Yeah,
So Owen,
so I mean, you've got to give a balanced view. So if so I think if Owen, if Scotty thinks that Owen is talking BS, then sometimes Scotty talks a lot of BS too.
Well, Scotty need to come on Scotty need to come on the show, because he's been here for years and he never shows his face. You know, Scotty, you need to show your face or even your mouth. Say something.
And show your tax receipts as well. Show your business turnover.
And bring your tax receipts and business turnover.
Yeah. I expect to see 100K turnover. I expect to see Jamaican staff. I expect to see international trade, because that's what it is. People feel inferior when you call them out. The reality is, if you're running a business, it's all transparent on Company's House. We can see what people are doing.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining the show. Dan, thank you so much for coming on. And I'll see you in London. Well, I'll see you in Birmingham on Saturday. I'll be driving down to Birmingham.
I'll see you in Birmingham.
But and Garry will
such a
have
pleasure being here.
Yeah.
And Garry will have the red carpet for us when we go down to Birmingham. Yeah.
I don't know.
Awesome.
I don't know about that.
And Scotty,
has Garry been sharing our links and making sure that people come out?
I'm sorry.
Has Garry been sharing the links and making sure that
yes,
people
Garry
come
and his
out?
wife has been sharing it. Yes. Garry, I spoke on your behalf. Am I correct? Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You carry on. You're doing very well. You're doing very well.
All right. Okay. Well, Dan, listen. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Okay.
And you.
All the
Bye,
best.
guys.
Take care.
Blessings.
Take care. Garry, take care of yourself, and we catch up again, Garry, and have a good one and a great show as usual. Okay, I'll speak to you in a second, Garry. You don't go far. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. And I remember, very spirited discussion, and I believe it's very important to have discussions which are not just having a chat, but having something that can be meaningful and something that can be lasting. And I look forward to further discussion on this topic. I know my topic tonight was Africa Awake, but Africa is Awake is a very wide thing and a wide statement there. Is it time? And I believe that we have the answers for many things. We have the solution, but are we ready to really step in it? As Owen popped in and said as well, are we ready? And I believe that's the key thing. So have a good night. God bless you. Remember to like and subscribe on TikTok, Facebook, and all the different platforms as well. And peace out.
Let's go.